What is up, everybody? Cinephile Mike is here, and it is day 14 of And the Oscar Goes To. My dailies are short videos where I explain to you who I believe will win, and in some cases, who I think should win the big prize come Oscar night, March 2nd. So, we've been going in the order of the creation of a film. We have our script, we got our director, we got our designers, we got our cast, we filmed it, we edited it. So now just a couple more things we have to do before we send it out there to the public. One thing we want to do is make sure that everything sounds just right. So today we are looking at Best Sound. And the nominees are Todd A. Maitland, Donald Sylvester, Ted Caplan, Paul Massey, and David Giammarco for A Complete Unknown. Gareth John, Richard King, Ron Bartlett, and Doug Hemphill for Dune Part 2. Erwan Kerzanet, Aymeric, Devoldère, Maxence Dussère, Cyril Holtz, and Niels Barletta for Emilia Pérez. Simon Hayes, Nancy Nugent title, Jack Dolman, Andy Nelson, and John Marquis for Wicked. And finally, Randy Thom, Brian Chumney, Gary A. Rizzo, and Lefferts for The Wild Robot. Let's look at these a little closer. First up, the team behind A Complete Unknown does a stellar job building the sound effects, but also making sure that the musical numbers are balanced properly to make sure that we hear each guitar strum as well as each sung note. The vibrancy of 1960s New York is alive and bright as we follow our cast through the streets, to the folk clubs, to the folk festivals, and everywhere in between. Then we have the team behind Dune Part 2, which includes vets from the first film where they took the top prize, and some new members as we are whisked away to Arrakis and Caplan and the sounds of the desert sands underfoot, as well as every clash of every sword or bang of every gun that we hear in each battle. It's crisp as we follow our hero's journey to survive in this desert world. The team truly brings to life those odd sound effects that we have come to love and connect to in a sci-fi world. Then we have the team behind Emilia Pérez, who has the fun job to also balance the musical numbers between the singing and the music, as well as craft some rather climactic scenes taken out of an action franchise. They're on board to give the sounds of a bustling city life, whether we're in Mexico or London or Switzerland or whatever other country or place we travel to as we follow our cast on their musical journey from tragedy to tragedy. Next up, the team behind Wicked, the third musical in this batch, creates all the joys and delights of the fantastical worlds of Oz, whether the sounds are of items magically flying through the air, the sounds of animals as they clip-clop and talk their way through Shiz University, or the sound of the echoed heels on the hallowed halls in the corridor on our way to see the wizard. Also, in the climactic defying gravity sequence, I swear that the sound effects, the cape, the flying, all on point. And then finally, we have the team behind The Wild Robot, which blends the unique science fiction sounds we expect of robots booting up, speaking, and talking, along with the explosions that come from the ships during the fights, and equally balance all of that with the sounds of the natural forest, for which we spend most of the film as the animals run and splash and saunter through the trees and the brush and the water, an auditory fantasia for all. All right. So, as for what I believe will win and who I think should win, as we have a few times as I've gone through this, these are going to align today. And while it's a tough competition in here, I have to say I truly believe that when we hear that envelope opened, it's going to be a repeat for the team behind Dune. I mean, of these five, there is something truly magical about the world that's been created here that has attracted our consciousness for years. I mean, it's crystal clear with every sand crunch, and the blending is stellar. So that's who I believe should and will win when that Oscar envelope is opened. All right, so there you have it. Our film is made, it's wrapped in post-production. Now we just want to make sure we put just the right music to it. So I will see everyone tomorrow as I discuss Best Score. But until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.